Much to the disappointment of Corwin, Luca and I are not dead.
That was the most insane way to start a podcast, and we wouldn't have included it, but then we realized we didn't record a different intro.
Pac was looking at me like he's like, "Have you watched it?" I haven't watched it yet. He's like, "I thought Corwin was joking the entire time. I didn't know what to say. I was just staring at him, and he's like, "No, we're starting. This is it."
This is the start.
Sometimes I joke too much
dead.
about death.
Oh, I mean, I definitely, I went and I watched it when it went up, and I was just kind of like this, and then you said it, I was like, because there was a long time that passed, kind of like now, but we're gonna start. Today, what are we discussing, guys? We're discussing one of our favorite topics, frauds. And that's why the Winnipeg Jets won't be mentioned in this podcast.
That is not true, actually.
Whoa! Okay.
What the hell?
I don't know what he's going to be cooking up because they've looked pretty decent.
He was just so high on Ottinger last night that he's just like,
Guys, shut us out.
yeah.
Well, okay. Well,
Pretty good for a beer
we'll
league
get to
goalie.
it. We'll explain the topic.
Somebody tagged me in his tweet being like, pretty good for a beer league goal.
Really?
Pretty good. Pretty good. That I'm glad that
I
will
took all my
follow
strength
you.
not to start diving back into comments again.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't go in the comments. It's not worth it. But just so you know what we're kind of talking about, what we actually mean by that term, pretty much anyone who is deemed either just a playoff team or higher at the beginning of the season, and things have just kind of reared their ugly head, and perhaps they've shown themselves to be fraudulent.
Fugazi.
Yeah, I kind of look at it as like how we ranked them if I think they're below that now.
Which is kind of funny now you think of it. It's like, we said you were good, and then you didn't meet our expectations. You're a fraud, man.
Well, to be fair, I think for some, I'm assuming for most of us, for some of it, it's ones that are like pretty widely accepted opinions.
No, I mean, we're grossly unreasonable people as well, but no, you're right. What you said.
Like, just because the Dallas Stars clearly aren't the Stanley Cup favorite, I wouldn't call them frauds. They're still a very good team.
Yeah, you got to jump or drop like a few tiers to really be considered like a fraud.
They're just letting that Stars chirp slide. I'll take that.
What?
I said they were clearly not Stanley Cup favorites.
Oh, yeah, but like, I don't know if you still believe that or not. That's all. That's
I think
why
he still believes.
I
it.
still think you don't.
I was thinking about it. If it's not the Jets, I'd love to see the Stars win the cup. I just want to see Joe Pavelski get that cup.
Be nice.
Interesting.
And do you think he goes to the Hall if he gets a cup?
Ooh, I'd have to see his career stats.
Yeah, you gotta.
Probably does.
The one thing that hurts him is he has like no individual trophies, right?
Yeah. And then like international doesn't mean as much, but he doesn't have those either.
International means something, especially with
means
the it's
something.
the Hockey Hall of Fame, so they certainly
It means
weight
something,
that.
but like
They
an
definitely.
individual trophy probably weighs more. But then
Yes.
if you go to that, he has nothing there either.
Welcome to
Seems
the
like-
conversation.
I don't think he's
why
making
don't
it to
you why don't you start us off? Sorry, it was too easy.
I love Joe Pavelski, too. He's a
I can
great
tell.
player,
I
but
can tell. You wanted to talk about it in the loop.
Big
Yeah.
fan of him.
But why don't you start us off on the fraud list?
I'm public enemy number 2 in Vancouver now because they're frauds.
Oh my
Wow.
god.
Wow, you just went
Oh.
right for the jugular.
Oh my. Okay. I'm gonna need some words from you guys on that.
They have the 58th best shooting percentage in the history of hockey right now. That's going back to 1917, according to NHL.com. That's
They
nuts.
got some sharp shooters.
Four guys are over 24% right now.
All I'm hearing
Four
is they can
guys.
snipe.
Honestly, weirdly enough, I've kind of backed off of it a bit.
Okay. Well.
I just
okay.
think it's going to come down to earth in the sense that we might be looking like the
think,
LA
like-
Kings are the best team in that division, and I think it's like pretty obvious. And then Vancouver's schedule is wild too because they haven't really had like a tough schedule. They don't face LA until game 62, and then they face them 4 times to end the year. So like
That is
and they're facing
insane.
Vegas for the first time tomorrow night. We're recording this on a Wednesday, so that's their first meeting with Vegas this year. So like they really haven't had to play the best teams in their division. I just think they're gonna come down to earth at some point here, and I think the Kings are like clearly the best team in that division.
Well, my thing was like, because of course, I think a lot of people have been calling them fraudulent all year because like they were riding this like sky high PDO that people were like convinced it'll come crashing down and all this stuff.
Which is still like it's gonna be
It's
the
still pretty
best
high.
PDO of all time if it sticks.
Yeah, but my thing is, think about like for me, I cannot call them frauds because where we projected them is I think they are absolutely a better team than that. Like if I had to redo the rankings right now, Like, I mean, obviously it's easy to say playoff likely because like they've racked up so many points at this point already.
Yeah.
That like it's hard to even imagine them. Like they'd have to go on like an equally insanely bad run to even make that an option. And then so like I don't know. I can't call them fraudulent. I get why you're saying it because like
Yeah,
again,
I guess I didn't go
like,
off of our rankings for this one, but I feel like it was just such an obvious one, and I didn't want to overlap teams with you guys too.
Well, but even
Well,
fair.
I mean, that's fair.
we got off the ice last night, and I said to you, I was like, oh my
Shots.
god, the Ducks were out shooting the Canucks 27-12 through 2 periods, and it was like, again,
Yes.
like
You don't think they're frauds, yeah, from any of that. And I agree with what you're saying, your sentiment, and I understand what you're saying, but you're
think-
right where it's like it's hard to say because they've overperformed.
Yeah, it's hard to call a team that has exceeded expectations frauds, but
Yeah.
like I think Luca's just saying that like
I don't think they're
they'll
Stanley
come back down
Cup.
to earth.
Yeah.
Are,
That's
are they
more-
Stanley Cup
Yeah.
contenders?
That's more what I mean. For the crowd
yeah.
that maybe thinks they're like Stanley Cup contenders, I would push back.
That crowd
think-
already
I think-
hates you, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think they could like make some moves to get there though. Like I think
Yeah.
they're closer than.
If you were their GM, would you make a move right now? With let's just say
I said that already. I know.
Hronik's been incredible.
So good.
Yeah,
Like,
him and
What
Hughes
an
have been
insane,
outstanding.
great pickup for them last year.
Yeah.
And I love how they just made that trade when like they weren't going to be a playoff team. They're just like, we just need a defenseman. Doesn't have to be the offseason. Let's just do it at the deadline, and
get a
that's our
good player.
guy.
Yeah.
He's going to help us in the future, and that's what it did.
He's also honestly when that trade happened, I thought he was older than he was too. Like
Oh,
he's,
what is he,
he's only like
26?
25.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Being young.
Yeah.
How many years does he have left on his deal?
I don't think many, but
Maybe one after this year.
yeah, something like that. But it's
He'll get paid.
yeah, seriously.
Yeah, Brock Besser
They-
get
but-
paid too.
They
But-
needed defensemen, and like it's nice to see that they're getting production. I mean, obviously Quinn Hughes is a stud, but like to have another guy who's just like
I think it's
big
that
time
pairing,
producer.
you know? Like,
Yeah.
I think we underrate that a lot, how much like having a good pairing matters.
yeah.
Okay, so we've unanimously agreed, almost unanimous, because it almost feels like Luca would back off his own point that they are not frauds.
No, I still think.
Okay, fair
I think
enough.
they're fraud.
Corwin, then fraud, quote unquote, number 2.
We talk a lot about me being humble, you know? And this
Oh,
might
yeah.
be one of the most humble things I've ever done. I think the frauds are your Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, you better.
I was wondering if you were gonna pick them.
Jets.
I love these guys. I love this team. There's a core that I would stick with till the end, but I just don't think as they're currently constructed, this team deserved the ranking that we gave them. We put them in cup contender and we didn't even really second guess it.
There was actually a guy on our team who wanted to put them as the favorite. I forget who that. Oh, yeah.
Okay, hold on. I didn't want to put them as a favorite. I just wanted to put literally anybody above the Stars. But
Now we know they didn't deserve it specifically.
yes, but man, it's like for anybody that has been watching Leafs games, like they very rarely outplay a team, and if they like most of the games are either kind of like even matches or they get dummied. And like it's just not been good enough. Like I don't there's so many things that you can kind of point to. Like they've had a lot of injuries on D. They like even when their D are healthy, it's kind of I think maybe I definitely even overrated them a little bit in terms of like I don't think Jake McCabe has been enough of an impact. Like I think back to like when Muzzin was there, and I don't think he's fully matched up to that level of contribution. And then funny enough, I actually think Morgan Riley's had a pretty good year, but the like obviously Klingberg was just a disaster, and then like now with some of these injuries, they're rolling out like Benoit, and weirdly enough has been solid, but like it's just not a good enough blue line. And I think as much as he has 14 goals on the season, Matthews has been like so hit or miss on nights where it's just like he's been not good enough consistently, if that makes sense.
The
Like
shootout goal was nice. That was for sure.
that was sick. I actually
Yeah,
love
that
that.
was
Yeah.
nasty.
So I don't know. Again, like I still believe in the team, and I think they can make some moves and do some different things that could put them in a better position.
What kind of moves, out of curiosity? Like if you really wanted to do something soon, which again, as we've discussed before, NHL, one of the leagues where that really doesn't happen until closer to the deadline. But like, what would you look to actually do that's actually possible?
For me, well, one, like I'd probably stop playing Ryan Reeves.
Even after he took your money.
No, please. You're gonna bankrupt me. He seems like a
your
great
literal
guy.
money is what I
He
meant.
seems like a great guy.
Good Winnipeg boy.
Yeah, and I wanted him to succeed, and I just think like I think in prior seasons where it was more of a lock that they were going to make the playoffs, you can kind of take that hit sometimes to have a different personality in there. But like it really seems like they might end up as a wild card team in this, and I don't know if you can really risk having a guy that isn't contributing enough on a nightly basis. And like for me, that's calling up some of the younger guys like Steve's. Like I think Nick Robertson. I think I'd be so much more negative if they didn't call up Nick Robertson when they did, because like I think he genuinely like saved their third line because like him, Domi, and Yarncroc have actually been a great third line. And funny enough, the Bertuzzi, Tavares, Nylander line looked great when they were together. They've kind of split that up now, which again, there's only been one game, so like they're always seeming to rotate those like that Nylander and Marner spot, but. I'd love to see them give shots to other younger guys, like I said, like Steve's. I'd be interested. Like Niemela has actually had a pretty good start in the AHL. I don't watch a ton of Marley's games. Like I go and I see clips and things like that, and he looks solid, and he's a good puck moving defenseman, which they really don't have a lot of great skaters on the back end. So I'd love to see that. But like aside from obviously, there's some trades I'd like them to make.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah,
Travis
but-
Sanheim and such.
Yeah. But
Giordano's out now too.
I know. And like Liljegren has been out, and he's probably their best skater other than Riley. But
At least he got his water bottle. The craziest thing too, when you're just looking at the Atlantic Division, I don't think there was a single person in this room that would have predicted a top three of Bruins, Panthers, Red Wings in that order.
It's nice
Yeah,
to see.
It's not bad, right?
Not
Not bad. Or
Yeah,
even the bottom, to be honest.
we'll get to that.
Yeah, like Sens being at the bottom of that is like...
I expect the Lightning to climb their way up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean,
Now
they
that
got
they got the
Vasilevsky
Kenny
back. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Jesse, who is your fraud?
Look, just because they're a fraud, does a fraud have to be a bad thing? I'm going to talk about your Winnipeg Jets.
This guy
as
changed
frauds
the
this
meaning
year.
to talk about
I'm
his
flipping
team. I
the
love
word
it.
fraud on its head.
You're a fraud for doing this.
Yeah,
I love it.
am I a fraud for misusing the word fraud?
Maybe.
You can say that. Look, I think there was just a lot of people doubting the Jets this year. Tons of organizational changes. Specifically, you lose your captain. No one really knows how that's going to pan out. And then, we lose PLD, get good return, but even without Velarde in the lineup, the Jets have been humming. Like, who saw the Jets being this good? Okay?
What is going on? They're not frauds. How are you calling them? You need to explain how you're describing them as a fraud.
Everyone thought they were going to be bad, but they've been good. And that's why they're frauds. Because
I thought we ranked them pretty decently, didn't we?
No,
I thought we put them playoffs likely.
No, okay, look, I speak as a Jets fan who says like there's no way that
Wait, you do?
I'm speaking for Jets fans. There's no way that anyone in Jets land thought the Jets were going to be this good. I think our like early attendance numbers kind of was a little indicative about
Fair.
that as well. And like here's some stats. I think right now we're 8th in the league in goals for per game. Like we have a good top 9, but like is it
Kyle
that?
Connor?
What?
Ooh,
No,
like,
I mean Kyle Connor's amazing.
this guy getting 60?
Yeah, 50. I always ask on Twitter. He's getting it. He's in it. But like, I don't know. I just like don't really. What were we last year? Last year the Jets were 21st in goals for per game. So this year, like we've taken a huge jump. And on top of that, we were doing a lot of this without our head coach. And I think Scott O'Neill deserves a ton of credit for the work that he's done. And like. I just think when I think of the Jets, like going to the year, I'm like, is this team like really going to be one of the better teams in the league? They have been one of the best teams in the league. We've had a couple rough games, and it's interesting. Like, don't really want to be the guy to say this, but like Bones comes back. I'm pretty sure the Jets are 1-2 with him behind the bench, and the team is humming with O'Neill. And like, I think O'Neill is going to get a good head coaching look next year. Like whether it's with the Jets or with someone else, I don't know if Bones. Who knows? You can only speculate, but I don't know.
Well, Jesse definitely didn't understand the assignment, but at the same time, I always like some positivity in the chat. So, you know what? We'll just, there's no rules anyway, so it doesn't matter what I say here. But yeah, we'll accept that as a fraud. And Luca, maybe we'll go back to the initial definition of the term.
Yeah.
But
I won't be positive then.
No.
I think we had Vegas as cup contenders, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think they're a bit of a fraud this season.
Oh,
They started off.
You are gonna need.
I've
to
got some
explain.
stats.
Yeah. Okay.
They started off really strong, where they went on that run. First 12 games, they didn't lose, and then they've lost 8 of their last 11 games now. Aiden Hill and Logan Thompson still unproven. They're the best goalie tandem in the league right now, but I don't know how much I trust them. Shea Theodore's week to week now. He's been by far their best defender, along with Braden McNabb. They've split that up. They haven't really found a line for Mark Stone. He's played on 5 different line combinations, and none really seem to stick with him, so they've had to split up their best line of Eichel, Barbashev, and Marchessault, which isn't playing together right now because they're trying to tinker a little during this rough stretch. Their depth is not really good outside of Carlson, Marchessault, Eichel, and Stone, and those guys combined for like 47 points the first 12 games. They have half of that production in the last 11, so they feel like they're a good team. I'm not saying they're not a good team, but I think like it's back to the point I made. Like the Kings are the class of that division, and I think we're just headed to like a Canucks Vegas first round series, second and third between my two frauds. The Kings have 4 games in hand on both of those teams, and they're basically right there in the standings.
Doesn't this feel very harsh though to call them like fraudulent in that case? Like, do you think
Might be a little-
they've dropped below a certain line that would even invite that form of phrasing?
Like, the only reason like it's tough to, because I thought about them, and like like you said, like a lot of their underlying metrics definitely suggest like they are not as good as they.
Like the hot start was ridiculous.
But like they won the Stanley Cup last
did.
year, and
You
like
also you're not going to keep up a pace of winning like your first 12 games.
No,
You're down
for
to
Unless
sure.
you're the
progression.
Bruins in that case.
For sure
you
they're
can just
not.
keep up
But-
and make up whatever pace you'd like.
They've also lost 8 of
we'll
11
talk about
now.
this.
Like that's a number where it's like, okay, is it reversing the other way now as far as, okay, the goalies aren't as good as they were playing before. Theodore's now out. Pietrangelo moves up in the lineup, and not saying he's not good anymore, but like they're a little weird of a team right now.
Okay, let me poke at this a little bit then. Like, are you saying then that this remains this way? And in your mind, how far do they go in the playoffs?
No, I think they're like a playoff likely team. Like
Playoff likely.
If
they
it's
won,
Kings and Golden Knights second round, I'm picking the Kings.
okay. Well, that's not even that harsh.
What about if
fraud.
it's-
No, I'm saying fraud
What
in the
about-
sense that like
I think that'd be a
they're not a cup contender.
I don't know, man. I think Kings Vegas could go either way.
what about
I'm sure it could.
what about Vegas Oilers?
I'm picking Oilers, I think.
Wow. Come on.
If
Really?
the Oilers sneak
Why?
their way into
I need
honestly,
you-
because of McDavid and Draisaitl.
I know you
Fair-
like it, but
I
I
kinda
why.
agree with that.
Why?
because
Both
of
you.
McDavid and Draisaitl. That's literally the only reason. If the Oilers
of
make
that.
the playoffs, it's because of them two. So
course.
in a hypothetical world where they've battled all the way back to make the
Oh,
playoffs,
I get it. So that okay. Well,
And
that's
they
fair.
would've-
Since
and
the whole
would've
thing.
They probably
technically
will.
kind of figured out their goaltending. Like,
now.
I don't trust their goaltending.
I don't
or
either.
their defense. I think Vegas could find a way to like contain McDavid and Draisaitl enough to beat them.
Well, I know no one's gonna pick the Oilers because they've already been absolutely kicked in the ribs enough times this year.
You know
and
what,
they're
though?
already
Like,
marching a little
Man,
back
I was
up,
they're
so,
rolling
yeah.
right now, and like I was thinking about it. As much as I want to call those frauds, I just like I'm not gonna call them frauds.
Yeah,
They're
what
just
are
the
you-
wild card
they have
team
so
Mets.
many good players.
They do, and like
Nashville and the Blues are like the wild card teams at basically 500. Like the Oilers can definitely get back in.
yeah, they can.
And I will say, they're not even on my fraud list, but like St. Louis and Nashville get it
Oh,
every
yeah.
year. Like
I know.
if I see those teams,
You know
in
what?
the playoffs,
Nashville's on a
puke.
heater, 6 in a row.
I'm gonna
No, they
puke
beat
if
the
they're in the
Jets.
playoffs.
yeah. Yeah, who's yours, Corwin?
So my second fraud is
And you hinted at this already. I feel like.
I know who.
the Atlantic Division. I think almost every team in this division is fraudulent.
Okay.
I kind of
I
like it.
personally, I think, I look at it and I think the way that people are thinking about the Bruins right now, I think I think they're a team that got off to a hot start and
Their
I
PDO
don't-
is like
I
right
don't.
up there.
I think they are closer to the team that we ranked them as, which I believe was playoff likely, than they are to like number one cup.
Well, currently on the pace that they're at, aren't they like close to what they did last year, which is already crazy with what they're
I
missing?
think they've lost a couple in the last.
they've been
little bit,
allowing
but-
a lot of goals. Like I think
Yeah,
their last 3
yeah.
games, they've allowed 5 or more goals.
Exactly. So I think they're already
Which is weird.
starting to like see a bit of a regression, and then
3 of the last 4.
Yeah, and well, so with them, like I think their goalies numbers have come down a bit. I think you're starting to
in
see
a little window now.
Of course, yeah. And again, I'm
They've been
not
bleeding
saying
goals lately though. Like if you look up the Bruins last like 4 or 5 games, like they've been allowing a lot of goals, relatively speaking. Like
yeah. And I agree, and I just well, not I agree. That's just a fact.
Yeah, I agree that has happened.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But I don't know. I think with the way, even myself, it's so funny because like probably like a podcast or two ago, I would have been like, I don't know, I'm not going to doubt the Bruins anymore.
Yeah, you
Here
definitely.
I am doubting them
the
again.
Bruins.
And but I'd kind of go down the list. Like I think Detroit is kind of fraudulent.
Because of added, yeah.
Well, they're another team that's just riding a crazy shooting percentage, and I think that's a lot of it off of the top line just humming at the start of the year.
Just got Kane.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I also don't think like
That
Patrick
one's
Kane's
gonna be
coming
tough.
off a crazy surgery.
I think we
And
don't know
already-
the numbers of like
think there are a
people
bunch
his
of-
age
yeah.
who have come back from almost the exact same surgery.
It's like not just hockey; it's all sports. I
Yeah.
saw a tweet about like tennis
not-
players too. It's
not
just
great.
very difficult.
Get the
to
guy
do.
on the power play.
Well, and you'll see.
That's
of
pretty
course.
much, yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta
pretty
hope
much,
you can just
pretty
chill
much.
on the half boards and just fire passes
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
But either way, I just think like
Goaltending
Tampa-
is a big thing for them, though, more than anything.
Is Tampa included in your Atlantic frauds?
I don't know. Like I guess like in a way, because I still think of them similarly, where I'm like they have really good players. I don't consider them a Stanley Cup contender. If that is kind of fraudulent by them, like then sure.
The Sens are frauds.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say
the Sens
the
are kind
Sens
of
are
frauds
such
too. 'cause,
frauds.
like,
Every year it's the same thing.
that
Like,
one-
oh,
and
the
honestly,
got a good roster.
For that one, DJ Smith is the
yeah,
fraud.
I think DJ Smith. I think we can all agree that like if this continues,
our point is, eh?
honestly, if they actually keep losing, like if the Sens lose 2 more games in a row, like he could fully be fired.
Which is
He should
pretty
like.
Yeah,
and
he should have been fired
I-
a while
he-
ago.
It seems like a great guy, and
Yeah.
I hate being so like where it becomes such a personal thing for this.
It's yeah.
But like,
But
with
here's
the
some
way,
names.
with
He's
the way,
gonna whack him.
no, I
The
just mean like
Fugazi, get him
how can
out from behind the bench.
this team has such good
So
talent,
talented.
and you look at the roster, and I feel like everybody in the like that knows hockey at all would look at that roster and be like, "That's a pretty good team."
Yeah,
and like,
exactly.
and they just
Can't win.
continue to fail to meet those expectations. They got absolutely blown out by
Panthers.
the Panthers. Yeah, they got blown out by the Panthers like 5-0. It's just not good enough.
to be and not good enough, and
And the Sabres and
the Sabres for sure. Like I mean, like
they're like the Sens.
we were,
I think.
yeah. Like I mean, they're in a tough spot now just because like they started so poorly, and now they're missing.
Tage.
Tage. So that's gonna not be good. And they already sent down Devin Levi, which again proved our point. Where like you can't trust a goalie with a full schedule right away after he just got out of college hockey. Like,
Yeah.
that's insane to think a player's just
Yeah.
gonna be able to take a NHL workload
For sure.
But either way, like
I mean, the good thing for all these teams is that with a full division of fraudulent teams, some of you guys are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Minus
yeah,
the Panthers.
you say
Yeah,
fra-
the Panthers are the one team that I actually think is.
you
good.
say fraudulent, but really it's like just exciting more than anything because it is pretty wild.
wide open.
I will say
Boston's
that
lost 3 in a row, by the way.
the Boston one feels like, I want to wait, still see a little bit more. But yeah, like the part that I agree with you most on is just more the way we were even framing it, and a lot of people have been, is like, ooh, look how competitive that division is, which is correct because it's like so much movement all over the place. But it is because of teams underperforming. So yeah. It feels odd to look at that because there's a lot of attention is always on that division, and it could swing at any point for almost any of these teams. It feels like minus the
kinda-
Bruins, which I disagree with you guys, but
It feels like the old days where like the Western Conference is it. Like I honestly think like
you're saying it really because most people feel the other way, where the West is the weaker.
Central's pretty bad.
Yeah. Oh, bad.
like,
well, yes.
what
but-
the Stars, the
Outside of the
Jets,
Stars-
and the Avs
Yeah,
are
but, like,
3 very good.
I think people
teams.
would argue though in the Atlantic that like the Leafs, the Panthers, the Lightning, and the Bruins, like those are 4 of your premier teams.
But that's what I'm saying.
No, I know, but
don't-
I'm
I
saying
don't
like
know
in general consensus among hockey fans, I don't think they see it that way. Maybe.
yeah, that's
I don't-
fair.
yeah.
Like
You
the
say-
Stars, the Avs, like there are some decent teams. I mean, the Jets are amazing, obviously. There are some decent teams.
Yeah, but and then
teams
the
that-
Kings and the like
You're talking about Pacific, yeah.
yeah. Well, I just mean the Western Conference in general. I
Yeah, the
think, like,
Metro's a bit of a weird one this year too.
Well, because the Rangers are the Rangers.
I'll tell ya.
As much as we like them, it always feels like
they kind of just are that team now where like
Yeah.
they're gonna if they can hit a heater in the playoffs.
Jonathan Quick.
Although
Who would have thought?
Oh, they'll get that heater.
The Caps are kind of frauds in a good way.
Is that who your next fraud is?
No, I gotta give one negative fraud. Like, I can't-
You definitely didn't give it last.
yeah.
I actually,
Yeah.
funny enough, I actually think the Capitals are frauds in the real way. I think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna sustain this. They
Yeah,
seem
yeah.
like a bad team.
You don't even have to
Yes.
probably call
No,
them a
for
fraud, though,
sure.
right? Because like we didn't think they were going to do well at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, true. They're just over it. They're kind of they're just
Their power
overachieving.
their power play was like 5% or something.
It
Like,
kind of
yeah, it's
it
really
kind of
bad.
depends
They
what your
lost to the Sharks.
It depends what your definition of a fraud is. Is your definition of a fraud?
I don't know
No.
yours so far.
I think we all.
Is it a team that you think is not that good, that's overperforming, that will come back down to earth, as Luca mentioned earlier with the Canucks?
Yeah.
True.
Or is your definition of a fraud a team that was supposed to be good going into the year and has not met the expectations that they were supposed to reach? I'm going to use that approach for my second one, and I'm going to say right now that the New Jersey Devils are frauds. And well, man, they
Ooh,
haven't-
that's a big one.
is it? They haven't been very good.
No, I just mean like big is like that's definitely a big name to be tossing out. Okay, well, what are your thoughts?
I mean, they're 10-9-1, which is just like not good. I'm pretty sure they've just been. Let me get my stats here. They're allowing 3.65 goals per game this year, and they were allowing 2.71 only last year. So they're just like leaking a lot of goals this year. And also, they had the fourth best penalty kill in the league last year, and this year they're 23rd at 75.7.
23rd.
So
Well,
things
that's
just seem like, and they're not winning games. Like things are not going great there. Like there were such high expectations for the Devils this year, and obviously Jack Hughes was off to a great start. I'm not saying that they can't turn their team around, and the Metro division is like a weird division in the sense that they could emerge, but they just like. They haven't been good enough. It's the
tough.
bottom line.
It's tough because like they really do have to pick it up with how well the Rangers have started. Like they've kind of put the Devils in a position where it's like, man, you really got to hit the ground now.
Man,
Kind of, but the rest of their division hasn't racked up that many points.
Carolina's
You
getting
could-
better though too.
Yes, Carolina
And, like,
is looking better, and
Yeah.
so but like because
that third spot though. Yeah. Open.
personally, I still think they're fine. I like the one thing I will say is that Vanacek has not been good, and it's
No.
very clear that like that's you got to try to upgrade that position. And I know there was like talks of Hellebuck in the offseason and like all these things, and like I'm always in the boat of just roll with some goalies and see what happens. But I don't know if you go into the year and you just say, oh, hopefully Vanacek can keep up some decent play, and he has not. So
The rest of their roster's fun. Like Luke Hughes is playing amazing.
Yeah.
And obviously Jack and Heischer and everyone. They just got such a fun team.
they're fun, but what about like Mercer, for example?
he's off to a slow
Dawson
start.
Mercer has been off to a slow start, and the expectations were pretty high for that team, and they just like have not. They just haven't met them. Like I expected them to be like top of the division, battling with the Rangers, battling with Carolina, and like I know that they're only 1 point back, but to even see them with one game in hand, but to even see them behind like the Caps and the Islanders, you're like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, which I think that makes sense in terms of I do think they've underperformed expectations to this point, but I believe in them to start meeting expectations for the rest of the season.
That's fair.
I will say, I haven't added any frauds so far, and I'm gonna go against the grain here. I'm gonna add one to the group here.
Wow.
You know how I feel about goalies. If anything, I think this group disrespects goalies en masse, other than myself, way too much. I think you discredit them the most. It's fine.
Love Jake Ottinger. Hey, I had 2 in my top 10.
You did, and then you wanted to get rid of them. I remember. I edited that video. But I'm going to put goalies as a whole on this list again because the top Rangers goalie on goals saved above is Jonathan
Oh,
Quick.
yeah. Jonathan Quick resurgence,
The
man.
top Islanders goalies Varlamov and Thatcher Demko, which I get. No, he is great, but it's
The
just like
heater of all heaters.
absolutely killing it. No one's even close to him. None of us would have picked him to be the number one goalie in the league by that stretch. And Cam Talbot, bro, like
That's
that
the one
guy
that's the craziest,
is
because
on a heater.
I'm
You want to
talking
talk
up-
about heaters?
talking up the LA Kings, and a lot of it is just him being on the best streak of his life right now.
God, like, as someone who
Streaky.
defends goalies, like it's on blue, like red and blue in the
Goalies
face,
are
whatever.
random.
Like, it feels so random when I look at this dumb list.
Corn's just licking his chops right
I
now.
know.
I'm just so proud.
I'm
I never
pissed.
thought I'd see the day that Z would call goalies frauds. It's just such a beautiful
Pick
moment.
it up, man.
It's a beautiful moment.
Pick it up, goalies. Like,
Which
I'm
ones in
trying
particular do you
back
want to see pick it up here?
Shusterkin for one, who's like not been bad or anything, but it's like, pick it up. Jonathan Quick can't have better numbers than you. And again, like it's the ones that you pick to start the year where it's like Sorokin's supposed to be like this game changer. And it's been the exact opposite. So, good news is we're 20-something games in. So
How about
this
Connor
could all-
Ingram?
Yeah, that
pretty
is
nice.
wild. No,
He's
that
been
is
pretty
that
nice.
is wild that he's up there too. And Joseph Wall is strangely up there. But anyways, we'll skip past that.
Was that strange? Is that what's strange?
Is Jake Onger up there though?
I'm sure I can
I
find
think
him.
they're exactly.
They're similar. They're similar. He's got
Wow.
3.6 goals save above, and our boy Wall has way more than that. But we won't look.
The best
He's
friend.
actually got 7.
Hey, we're waiting till the end of the season.
Yeah, we'll wait.
We're
Exactly.
waiting. We're
The
waiting.
best
We're
friends.
Yeah, the best friends. Was that all our fraudulent?
waiting. I think so.
ones? Yeah.
Yeah, unless you have any
Nice, yeah.
others.
The rest of you teams, you're doing great.
Yeah. Everyone.
Not everyone, but everyone.
Oh, you know,
Yeah, true. I was like Nashville, St. Louis.
Oh, actually, wait. Before I was really negative on goalies. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I'm just gonna say, yay, happy for him. He got the save of the year so far. So
yeah.
glad he's doing well.
another fraud.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say UC Saros has been terrible.
Yeah, he's been
Yeah.
bad for Nashville.
That's a good one to add in.
Yeah.
There's a couple other frauds. Honorable.
He's like, we're not done. We're not done.
Honorable frauds. Let's go with the Seattle Kraken, who I know Luca said that he's.
There's such a weird one too. Yeah.
But honestly, I think like maybe some of the biggest frauds in the league this year, the Minnesota Wild. Like, no one could have been seeing this much regression from them. Like as bad as
They
they
fit
are.
our goalie profile too, by the way.
Oh, yeah,
Their
Gustafson-
goalie was terrible.
Gustafson
And
has
Gustafson
been-
was amazing last year.
Gustafson has been brutal.
They signed him. I think he's getting paid like $3.5 million a year. Everyone's just like, okay, like nice deal for the Wild.
Yeah.
Nope. And what are they now? They're 6-10-4. Like,
One with their new coach though, so congrats to them. First game.
Yeah.
John
that
Hines.
That
Okay.
new coach.
I
Vance.
feel like John Hines, as far as coaches go, is the biggest suitcase in the league.
Oh, it's just recycling these
It's
guys.
like every time I feel like every time it's like, oh, John Hines has been fired. Oh, John Hines pops up again. Didn't he coach Nashville?
yeah.
He's
And
honestly,
then did he coach? Who else did he coach? Did he coach somewhere?
uh,
I feel like
I feel like he was in the Metro at some point. Was it the Devils?
Metro.
Yeah. Yeah, he was with the Devils for a bit.
Who's your other fraud on your list? You got another one? Or that was it?
John Hines is a fraud.
wow. I mean,
I'll tell you. Yeah.
I gotta say, I was pretty down on the Minnesota Wild at the beginning of the year, so
Yeah, you were.
I believe that one. Also, if we're going down that list, the Flames.
Yeah.
I thought so much better for them.
we didn't-
That just bums me.
We didn't rank them that high. But
I was not high on the Flames.
Yeah,
From
I
what
think I was
remember.
higher on the Flames than you guys, and like
I think I was positive on them, but like
They're still fourth in the division.
I was like, oh, they're gonna be free from
Sutter.
from Sutter and just kind of like
Sutter's
like-
he doesn't even laugh, so he's not even laughing at it. He's
Yeah.
chewing his gums.
Yeah, told you so. But like Huberdeau has not been good.
That's
and,
tough,
like
man.
some of those contracts. Are,
Kadri as well. Like
yeah.
They are literally in so much trouble. Like that team is. I think the last team I would want to have to cheer for right now would be the Calgary Flames because they have these awful contracts and things are not getting better for them anytime soon.
that is a great lead-in for our "Don't Think, Just Tweet" because I like that one so much that we're going to start it off with that one. Jesse, you already said yours, so Corwin, we're going to shift over to you. Which team would you want to cheer for the least in the NHL as it currently stands? And you know what? We do say this in feeling a bit bad. This is not to step on you while you're down as much as it feels like. It's more just like, if we're being honest, it's kind of tough out there, and people, they should offer some empathy.
In more recent news, like Chicago Blackhawks has got to be a tough one lately, but Connor Bedard is just such a fun young player that I think he keeps them out of that.
That whole organization right now, the amount of things that they have just floating around them, which I know that's not within their control, and it feels like they just did the right thing in this case. So
Yeah,
And just, you know what? Boom,
you
terminate
kinda
it, get
gotta
rid of
like,
it. Yeah.
That is they did the right thing, and I think
Yeah.
like even it was. I thought it was great that they did kind of clear up the Connor
Yeah.
Bedard stuff because that's terrible for that kid and his family and so.
No,
but
kill that joke while it's a thing out there, and make
yeah,
sure that it's like,
that's,
nah.
that's
like
a smart move because
yeah.
a lot of people were like, are they going to address it? Are they going to address it? It was
And they did.
A very good thing that they did.
The internet can just be so cruel and stupid and
It's a very unempathetic place, but
Yeah.
something like that just awful. And yeah, it seems like at this point, at least they did the right thing. They've terminated the contract. They've moved on, and you got to respect the privacy from this point. But anyhow, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't even know if we'll ever find out anything about it.
Might
but
not
at
be our
at
right
least-
to at that point.
Of
Which
course.
is like, yeah.
But at least they cleared up like the rumor nonsense of
Yeah.
it. But the team, if we're going
original
back
question,
to
yeah.
original question, team that I think is what is it saddest to be
The fan base, the team that you're kind of like, you feel the saddest to be a fan of?
I got a feel for Islanders fans. I mean,
Okay.
like, funny enough, I think people were like ridiculing them for like wanting Lou out and like chanting stuff like that because it's like, oh, they're like kind of in the hunt. And I think for anybody that is like a big fan of teams, a big part of that is projecting to the future. And I think it's a pretty grim look where like I really like some of their players, but how they've locked in some of these contracts and how they've built this team just does not speak to me in any way that like they will be a contender in the near future. And like again, like I think Pelech,
Yes.
Pelech, they
Everything but Pollock there.
Yeah.
great
seriously.
defenseman. Dobson, great. Like Dobson is genuinely
awesome.
so good. And then like Barzal, honestly, he's a weird one to me that like I always thought he was going to be better than he has been. But and just some of the contracts these guys are on are just crazy that I don't see a way forward for this team. And it just feels like they're going to be a middling team for a long time.
I'm guessing
my
that's
mind-
why you're not taking the Sharks, because it's like, oh, okay, well, at least it's a clean slate and you
Bottom
might get a
out.
good,
That's
yeah,
the right
bottom
thing
out.
to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like even I understand like that it sucks to just watch a team lose over and over, but I also do think that like in those seasons where you're kind of bad and there's young players starting to play, there can be exciting parts of that, and just seeing those players develop and kind of starting to dream in your mind of, oh, what could be if we could do this. Like I think there is an exciting part to that. Whereas like I think of Islanders fans who like, as much as like the Leafs Islanders like rivalry thing with Tavares, it's just like that is like a sad thing to happen to your team,
Yeah.
that like your captain leaves and whatever, and then now it just the way, and to be fair, they had some great success after that and went on some nice runs, but just projecting forward, I don't see what direction this team is going in other than just like middle of the pack for a long time.
Before we move on to Luca's, for just on the opposite end of that, team that I feel happiest for right now, Detroit Red Wings fans. So I'm going to say, like, hockey's just better when Detroit has a good team. And as much as I believe we tried to call them fraudulent here, nah, like
Yeah,
the
we
expectations weren't that high for them going in. And the fact that they're even in the playoff hunt and now they have like Patrick Kane, it's like, yeah, you know what? Again,
They can
happy
definitely
when-
take some pride in that. Like the popular picks were Buffalo and Ottawa to be the team to take the step forward, and
Yeah.
so far it's been them.
They've been them. Yeah. They've been them. That was
They've
a weird
been
way.
them.
They have been them. And Luca,
New
you are
He's been
you.
him. I am I.
Yeah. Your one. I haven't given you your question
I thought
yet.
I was taking another team.
No. We're moving on to the next one.
Washington fans escaped me then.
No, they didn't.
watch Ovi at least.
Yeah, their jerseys are
doesn't do
brutal. That's
Yeah, fair.
That's what they got to sort out. Like when I was in,
They've been good this year though. Like if I'm a Caps fan, I'm like, wow, like this season was supposed to be like way worse. Like we were only supposed to be gunning for the Ovechkin record this year, but like we're like what are they 10-6-2? Like
I guess, yeah.
life could be worse.
But
you know?
when I was in Italy, they had this jersey shop, like all these vintage shirts, and it was like North American things. And they had the Vancouver one with a big V in the center.
Versace.
That's hilarious. Yeah, maybe someone would have thought that. But the one team that they had the most of, which it's like, I don't know if people are obsessed with it, was the current Capitals jerseys. And I was like, yuck.
They're such bad jerseys.
I need to go outside the front of the store right now from a notice from North America. We hate those, and those are not good vintage because they're current. They're not even vintage.
There are a couple jerseys I think that fall into that category, and I hate to say it, but I think the Jets.
Oh, you don't hate to say that. You're correct in like the
Well,
heritage ones need to just
They
be your
need to
jerseys.
just be our permanent jerseys. I don't know why they're not. Like I very much categorize our new jersey or like our regular jerseys with those ugly Capitals jerseys, or like kind of with like the Kings jerseys where it's like
Kings too, yeah.
Yeah, like these are just like not good jerseys, and
Piping.
you have better.
Weird piping in them in the jerseys. You're not currently.
Oh, I thought
wearing
you were
it.
talking about my pipes. Oh.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah. So, anyway, sorry, I got me a little distracted there. I think it's just time for these teams to just like go back to the better options that they have.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Can I throw out a quick bottom three? Would you go
Of jerseys?
Jets, Ducks, Capitals?
jerseys. You're saying.
Yeah.
I could agree with that, but I
The Kings are not far off too. I think the Kings jerseys are just so weird and ugly, and like they could be so much better.
like those come from that era. Think about that. That's that era. And look how outdated that looks.
I love that jersey.
I do too. That's why I own it.
Snug.
All right, Luca, yours. Will Quinn Hughes or Cale Makar win the Art Ross to become the first defenseman to win the award since 1975? Ooh. They're both in the hunt.
I know they're both in the hunt, and it helps that McDavid is kind of had the slow start, but now
Not
he's
anymore.
on fire.
Yeah,
He's
9
back.
points.
By the time this comes out, he's going to be at 70 points.
He's gonna be like second in the league. You know what? I want to see it happen. So yes, because if one of them wins the if one of them wins the Art Ross,
guy's
that means
jumping the gun. He's
they're
saying
gonna win.
both.
Well, exactly, because if one of them wins the Art Ross, they're gonna win the Hart and the Norris too, which is like just Bobby Orr territory. I think
Iconic
he's
photo
the only,
coming in.
Exactly, right? So I'll say yes. One of them does win it because I just want to see NHL history, and it would be cool for one of these guys to do it. I feel like they're always compared to each other as well. Ever since they entered the league, it's been like Hughes or Makar, and that's heating up again because Hughes has been so good. I feel like it was kind of dead after Makar won everything, but now it's heating up again.
Quote tweet. Pick who's going to do it.
Makar.
Yeah,
Easy.
We knew he was going to
Yeah, I'm going to pick Makar.
Carlson last year when he scored 100 points, he was the first player since when?
Since Brian Leach in the 90s.
Leach.
But these guys are going to have like 130. Like they're on pace for like
crazy.
120, 130 points.
Did they ever
Insane.
call him Bleach?
Man, that's stupid.
Yeah, for sure. No, they for sure do. There's nothing stupid about that.
Kind of like Tyler Ennis. They ever call him Tennis?
Wow.
That one I actually like.
Because you like tennis.
I saw a lot of padel courts, by the way, as well when I was there.
Really?
Didn't see a lot of pickleball. Saw a whole lot of padel.
We've never
Yeah,
addressed
because-
this. Z is one of the most ludicrous pickleball haters you could ever meet in life.
I'm sorry, guys.
You can play pickleball on a tennis court, so you don't need a pickleball court specifically.
They wouldn't let them in Europe. But anyways.
That's
You sure?
that's part of why he hates it.
I know,
'cause
I
He's
know.
playing
Kid-
tennis and he gets pissed.
Guys, man, there's already limited courts in this city. You know, I'm using these public courts out here, dying
Come to
on
the
this
East End,
concrete,
man.
just so I can have some idiot
trenches.
in the trenches, some idiot with a wiffle ball coming on in, just playing some EDM music as loud as they want on some speaker. It's always the same thing. You're always like, "What's going on, man?"
Sounds like me.
I play pickleball and I don't do that.
Just
Z, so-
sprinting into your court. Anyways, whatever. Have some decorum. Corwin, yours.
Have some decorum, eh?
Yeah. They go, ball, 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 ball. And it's like, yeah, man, I'll get it after. Like, chill, dude. Gee, Christ.
Is it because they only bring one ball or something?
I think so.
I bring,
and they're just
I
like, you
bring
need to stop
three.
what you're doing.
I'm not like I bring 3. You pocket them. It's like it's
How many do you bring
a
to
practical
tennis?
solution.
12?
No, you're supposed to play 3.
Yeah, you play 3.
Some people
Put 'em in
bring
your
more,
pocket.
but you're supposed to have 3.
You definitely don't have 1. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Don't trust me. It's, yeah. Anyways.
Don't put us all in that category.
Corwin, yours. Or
Mine.
it's yours. Yeah. Jesse, it's yours. Quote, every player on the ice has a 10-minute misconduct among other penalties. Has Garrett Rank's ref call from the Sens-Panthers game entered the Call Hall of Fame? First ballot, unanimous.
Every player on the ice has a 10-minute misconduct among other penalties.
I just like the among
Among.
other penalties. Yeah, I'd probably say that's first ballot. That's like a
ballot.
pretty memorable one. Context is everything, I think, in these situations as well. Got the Chuck brothers playing against each other. Stick it in the hall.
Stick it in the
First
hall.
ballot. Move over, Wes.
What part of it do you think sticks around? Because like I think of like
a
you
long
can't
one.
do that as like
You can't do that.
that everybody says that because it's like such an easy one to say in like so many scenarios.
What he said, I think, where it's like
Among
the way
other penalties.
you'll pause and go, among other penalties.
Yeah.
yeah, for
I was
sure.
thinking the same.
That's how you'll quote it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Corwin, I believe this is the last one I have here. Patrick Kane will have blank points with the Red Wings this year.
Ooh.
What do we send the line at?
How many games are left? 60.
Yeah, a lot. A lot. Lots of hockey to be played, Sabres fans.
So do you want me to set a line or say an amount?
I'll settle. Do you want me to settle?
Just say a number.
I'll
That's
say
what
it.
I want.
30
No, hey.
would be the line.
No, I don't want over under. I want you to say a number, and then from
Hey.
there they can play over under.
Okay. 45.
Under.
Oh, Jesse.
I was going to say like 38, and I'd maybe just hit the over, but I think maybe the under on 45. Who knows after his injury, you know? Like,
Yeah.
It's a serious surgery to have.
I was gonna say that's clearly the biggest question mark among other things. It's just like obviously you have to be available to get those points. And
Who he'll play with
but
too.
if he's gonna, I guess my whole thing is if he's gonna be on power play 1, they got a pretty electric power play of like.
slow down recently, but yeah, with him being added.
Yeah, well, if you go if you run him, DeBrincat,
Larkin, Raymond,
Larkin, Raymond, Sider, it's pretty sick. So like, I think just purely off that, like I think he gets like 30 power play points the rest of the way, and then like 15 even strength.
The Red Wings are kind of
That would be nuts. That might lead the
30
league.
Power play points.
30? No.
Or no, sorry.
McDavid probably had like 80
probably
power
80.
play points.
Yeah.
80? You think so?
Yeah.
I know, like I know it'd be like
30
around
would-
there, but like
30
80
would
sounds
lead the
too
league.
high.
Sorry, 30 wouldn't lead the
We're
league. But
before
it'd be
we
pretty high
leave,
up.
you
Yeah,
talk
that
while
was
I look.
nuts.
You talk while I look this up.
I can almost guarantee it because I believe Connor McDavid wasn't even first in the league in even strength points last year.
He
And
wasn't,
He was
you're
around
right.
like 60 to 70-ish.
Not denying it, just sounds funny.
Yeah, fair. But it was probably more than 70.
Who's
but-
gonna find it first? Me or Z?
Yeah, I'm excited to find out. I don't know. Guys,
I'm definitely gonna find
Why?
it first.
Come on, guys. This is total. No, come on, guys. The way it's
guys.
done.
Kucherov's got
This is silly.
Kucherov's got
This is
18 power
The
play
way they
points
do
right
it on
now.
Hockey
This is
Reference, I
silly.
got to do math. This is very
go to last year. What are you
Oh,
doing?
so I was just looking up who had the most.
He had
this
50
year.
assists and 21 goals.
it's the same
So
results.
Corwin's wrong.
He had 71 power play points.
71.
yeah, that's
But
whatever.
30,
That wasn't that far.
30 would have been basically
just
30
sounded-
would have been top 20, which is
80
30
just
in
sounded
60
fun.
games is pretty nuts. 30 power play
71's
points.
insane. Just 80 sounded like even funnier. Where it was just like,
Well,
what the?
You guys just got to consider that I'm never wrong.
30 power play points in 60 games is nuts.
You wouldn't be wrong to give this video a like if you've enjoyed the podcast. Which again, I don't know if the streak technically continued because it was a week, I believe, where it wasn't there.
The funny thing was, so we're gonna have 2 this week because we actually had that last pod done.
Yeah.
And then we all didn't realize that it wasn't posted. Like we could have posted it on the Thursday, I think, and then like nobody realized, and then we're like, oh, we should post that now, and that was Monday.
Well, thankfully, we realized that this needed to be posted, and that's why you're watching. And thank you for that.
You guys rock.
Don't ever change.
None of you are frauds. All you are just true.
Just real ones.
You're all just beautiful, good frauds.